As the Pele Yoetz, we're continuing the entry of Ger, a traveler, a sojourner. So he says, we were saying yesterday how we have to remember that we're not going to be here forever. We're going to go to Olam Haba, therefore we shouldn't be busy with all the luxuries. Okay, it's nice. It's nice to have nice things, but you can't feel that I'm dependent on it. You can't feel that I must have it. You can't feel that's my whole purpose, because that is not what we're here for. We're here to work, to build, get ready for Olam Haba, the big show, which is Olam Haba, not for living in this world and enjoying. That's not the purpose of this world. So therefore, he says, a person's deeds should be all l'shem shamayim, and he should be able to add to his physical life only things that he needs for it to be able to do the will of heaven. He shouldn't be focusing on making his physical life better just for the sake of kaif, for the sake of enjoying. Yes, everybody needs a break. Yes, everybody needs to go away a little bit. Everybody needs to, take care of himself emotionally, physically. But the main goal is to do the will of heaven. To do the will of heaven, we need to go and absorb more and more things that can help us to that goal. So therefore, we must not let should not allow the Yetzer to convince him with vanity and deception, as this is the way the Yetzer, that he makes you constantly presents you with things that are unnecessary for the will of Hashem, for the service of Hashem, in order to distract you. And therefore a person has to have a very keen eye, a very smart eye, to be able to pay attention to what is really a luxury, what is really essential. When we had COVID, everybody had to, are you essential? You're a social worker, can you go out? So therefore a person has to make the same judgment call. Is this essential to my service of Hashem? Is it not? Is this giving into Yetzer? Should I really eat right now? Or I'm just doing it for Borei Pri Yishkam? Do I really need to buy this? Or this is just for flashiness and Ga'ava, Yetzer? Person has to constantly ask himself these questions in order to hold himself back from Chas Hashem falling into the Yetzer. Because once you give in to him, today, the Gemara says, the Yetzer, how does he come to you? He says, today, come and do this Avera. Tomorrow, he tells you, come do that Avera. And then eventually to the point where he starts getting your attention and he starts controlling over you, to the point where he says, come and do Avodah Zarah. So therefore, a person has to be very careful that in here is the battle, is focusing on luxuries and making the right purchases and focusing on what should I work hard for. That's where the Yetzer starts his conversation with you, and he can start having you fall into his clutches. As the Midrash says, what does the Yetzer do? The Yetzer comes and says, come, you want to be happy? Come, I have it for you. Don't worry, just follow me, listen to what I say. And you follow him, okay. You follow him, and you finally, he says, come, and he starts running a little faster. Come, you're almost there. Eventually, you run, you grab him, he said, finally, give it to me. And he opens his hand, there's nothing there, and he says, listen, it was a good run while it lasted. What do you mean? You told me to do this, told you to do that, and in the end, it gave me nothing. It got me even worse where I was before. And the Yetzer says, that's my job. That's what I have to do. I have to trick you. And you have to be able to oversee that and be able to not hold yourself from falling back. Right? לעניין מאי דקאים עליה אסור לעבוד בגוי ריבית אלא כדי חייב, שעכשיו כל ידי חייב, שרבו מיסים, ארנוניות, נודיות, שאר הוצאות. אני אומר שדרך שאדם רוצה ללך מוליכין אותו. Yes, a person has to know, in halacha we say that everyone needs income to survive, right? Usually the halacha permits to lend to a non-Jew with rebit, with interest, but the Gemara says that's only for your basic livelihood. That's only if the only way you can survive is by giving loans and living off the interest of goyim. So that'll be permitted, but otherwise to be avoided. And he says today we want to say that, there's so many taxes and there's so many, expenses, and I have to marry off the kids and tuition and living expenses and whatnot. So Rabbi, we have to work and we have to be part of this world. You can't ignore the fact that we have so many bills. Says the Pele Yoetz, the way that a person wishes to go is the way they will lead him. You understand? So therefore, you're right. You have to be involved in this world. You have to make money. You have to pay a lot of bills. But it shouldn't consume your life, and this will only be the only thing you're worried about. The way you want to go, what you want to focus on will be the way your life goes. So therefore, if you want to focus on this, your life will become only that. If you look at it like, okay, I have to take care of this, but my main goal is that, so your life will go that way also. It will be a more spiritual life, uplifted life, and that'll just be, things you in between. Okay, I gotta pay this bill. Okay, that's done. I'm going back to what I need to focus on. As opposed to where a person is just busy with expenses and paying for things and work and money and this rat race that we put ourselves in. That is the way that we put our lives. It all depends on how we lead it. מי שעושה מלאכתו קבע ויגיע להעשיר תחבולות לדעת חדרים ימלאו He says a person who makes his professional paramount, exalts himself to amass wealth with an unbending flow of strategies and trying to gain more knowledge in order to become more wealthy, then what? HaKadosh Baruch Hu mazmin lo hotzaot sheyeh motzi harbe. HaKadosh Baruch Hu sends him many expenses, so he will spend more. And then he thinks to himself, wow, look, you see, I have so many expenses. Baruch Hashem, I work from 8 to 8. Look, I have to work so hard because look how many expenses I have. Little does he know, Hashem sent him all those expenses because he's working so hard. If he would have worked so hard, maybe in his spirituality, and looked at his work as not as the main thing, as not as the paramount thing, as the side thing I do, it's my side hustle. So then Hashem would have said, this guy's a spiritual person, I wouldn't send him so many expenses. So therefore he says, but the person tells himself, oh look, thank God, I work so hard and I work all day and I'm looking to always make more money because look, I have so many bills. And he doesn't understand if she would have worked less and been happy with a modest income, so that what? Hashem would also ordain that his expenses will be smaller. Therefore, a person has to know you shouldn't waste all your time. A person is in Rosh Hashanah, he's supposed to make whatever it is, $100,000 in profit this year, right? So he's going to make, let's say, $1 million, but he's going to have $900,000 in bills this year, right? And he thinks, yeah, wow, I made $1 million, right? But really, it's only $100,000 in profit that you have to play with because the business expense, this expense, that expense. So he says, wow, you see, thank God I worked and I worked so hard to make that $1 million this year. It's unbelievable how hard I worked to make that $1 million. And thank God, because I don't know where I would get $900,000 from. But little did he know that if he would have worked a regular job or worked less and just made, $200,000 this year, right? He would also just have $100,000 in expenses, and he would have that same $100,000 as profit. It's all the same. And what? Instead of wasting all that time and killing himself and saying, I had to make that $1 million, no. You anyways would have been in the same position, the same profit, if you would have went and made only $200,000 this year. Because anyways, Hashem would have made your expenses only $100,000. And then that way your profit would be the same. Hashem's going to give you whatever you're supposed to make. Whatever you're supposed to have in your pocket, you're going to walk away with it. All depends on how you believe Hashem could give it to you. All depends on what you make important in your life. And you say, in America, they ask you, what do you do? You say, I'm a lawyer, I'm a doctor, I'm a this, I'm a that. Really, we have to answer, I'm a Eved Hashem. I'm a servant of Hashem. I'm here to go and do the will of Hashem. Happens to be, my side hustle is, I am a jeweler. My side hustle is, I'm a barber. My side hustle is, I'm a medical guy. Right? And therefore, when we talk like this and we believe like this, so then we'll realize that my main thing is this, my salary, people do these salary measuring sticks, or I make this, I make that. That's not a proof to anything. We don't know people's expenses. We don't know what they walk away with in their pocket. Could be the guy who has a smaller salary is happier, walks away with more in his pocket than the guy who's working all day, making those millions of dollars because of all the expenses that he has. So therefore, a person has to realize that what? We're only here temporary, and why should we give up so much time because of this rat race? In the end, anyways, what Hashem decides for us is what we're going to have. Baruch Na'olam, amen.